Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Counter-Strike map analysis video. It has been a while since the last one uploaded. This one is for Swamp by Morozov and Bubkez. I think I'm saying their names right. If not, oh well, I'm still looking at their goddamn map. So, this is for the MapCore Exotic Places contest. You can check that out in a link below. It'll take you to their forums. You can find all the other maps. You can play them all, download them all in the workshop. I'll probably leave a workshop link as well, in case you haven't seen this map before and you wanted to give it a try. It's one of the rare maps where it actually does change gameplay in some small ways. It brings something that other maps don't have in the form of this little slime area, which slows you down. I don't think you can b-hop into it. Maybe if you b-hop from something else. I'm terrible at b-hopping, but at least I actually bind scroll wheel, unlike some lunatics. So you can sort of get there faster if you build up some momentum. So I'm sure some strategies could come from this. Hey, what's up, Bot Walker? How are you, dude? So, yeah, we'll take a look at the layout in a second here. I'm just screwing around showing you the main characteristic. Also enjoy my mechanical keyboard. That's new since the last time, so I hope you love that sound. Yeah. So I already like what they did just because they're adding something new. Now, granted, not everything that somebody tries is going to be great. Not everything is going to bring something meaningful to the scene. But if nobody tries at all, we are going to have some problems of stagnation. And, I mean, this is a game where people didn't even realize that the SG and the AUG were fucking broken for literally years because they never tried them. So, suffice it to say, even the pros have some stagnation issues. So, yeah. Anyway. The first thing to note, actually, this is T-Spawn, where I'm standing, and I have a bone to pick with the developers of this map as far as the sound effects that they used over here. I think it's specifically the frog-toad sound effect is so goddamn annoying. I want to leave T-Spawn as soon as possible, and I never want to come back to this area, and yet you have this stuff in here that slows me down. It's like you made the most annoying fucking sound effect choice possible. So that's already starting off on the wrong foot there. Okay, particularly since not only can I not fail or not succeed on jumping, but I also can't seem to escape this area unless I take one of the noisier pathways. But anyway, the slime is definitely an interesting gameplay change. That's for sure. And you clean up the soundscape for this mission, particularly in the T-start. Maybe that'll help the first impression. I also, every now and then you'll hear like an alligator or something. It's pretty neat. Oh yes, I've been playing Deus Ex, so I think X is to crouch. Thank God I'm playing this game now. So, we do have some ammo. That's pretty cool. Unfortunately, it doesn't work functionally. That's not a gameplay update they added. This is not 1.6 where you buy your own ammo. But, you know, man can dream. So, I guess we'll just head over to A while we talk. So this is the approach to A. And this is where you can see the slime getting some more information. I mean, there's some cubby holes and stuff over here. Unfortunately, you can't like hide all the way over here. But yeah, some attention was paid for small pathways to approach where, like, obviously it would be more ideal to send one guy lurking around. If you wanted to go to A and stab Wucker in the back, you could do that. I don't think you can get up this ladder because really the clipping two-dimensional texture is in the way. Sorry about that. Ow. I have God mode on and I still take fall damage. So, this is A. As you can see, you can get it through the really long way over here of the water. Or you can go up the way that I went, where Wucker is, and you can jump down here. So that's cool. Different approaches, obviously. And the water makes less noise when you're running through as well. So anybody who's hearing you, if they're not hearing you, is it really because they're not there? Or is it because they're sneaking up? And I guess this is like a warehouse entrance. Yeah, this is back to where we went on that approach to B. So this is where I was talking about cubby holes. But yeah, so the slime makes more of an impact than you might initially think. I don't know why it's called slime, though. It seems like it's just a swamp water type thing. I don't know why it would be slimy. So this allows you to like go on a flank. And you can hear I'm like walking around and I'm obviously not making any noise. There's noise when you initially get into it and when you get out of it. But if you can like get into it over there and take a really slow path, pretty easy to sneak up on somebody. Just saying. So it might be some tools that you can use if you ever decide to play this map. They seem to have forgotten the I. They got the dot, but not the I. So Mike is unfortunately out of an eye and out of a job. Stupid skull. So this is the approach to A. So far seems like actually a rather wide open map. Lots of connecting pathways. If you're familiar at all with my work in Brood War, you'll know that I really like lots of pathways. It can be a headache for the defending team, but if you're giving people a lot of pathways into and out of bomb sites, it also means that once the bomb is planted, then, you know, maybe tees have an easy time planting bombs when there's a lot of pathways in because they can get into the area easier, but they still have to defend it after the fact, which adds another layer, and one of the reasons why CS is such a cool game. So nice to see a map that has a lot of pathways in general. Now, continuing on past a bomb site, we'll loop over to the CT spawn. And again, there's all these like areas where, yes, you could chain jumps and practice your parkour and not suck at KZ, but I can't do any of those things. So we're just going to run on over, and we're going to head over to CT spawn. CT spawn is interesting because you start out all the way over here. And that means that you have a very long rotation ahead of you. I think you have to you have to nail some jumps in order to not be slowed down. It seems a little bit easier. Maybe this was patched already, but I remember I was like trying to nail this jump, and I would still be slowed down for a fraction of a second on the exit. And so it could be me being bad, but just something to keep in mind when you have 5 people running out. I think I was playing like a 2v5 with a friend or something, as opposed to actually having 5 people. So 5 CTs over here. It does seem like, oh, you can actually just walk out here. So this is just deceiving. I was lied to by the visuals. Looks like you can just walk along here. But yeah, if you try to go over here, you start to become a little slow. So again, just looks like they already corrected some of those issues, because I'm almost 100% sure it was much harder to avoid. I don't know what happened here. Somebody spilled some coffee grounds on the floor or something from a different core map. Some lighting bugs. So I'll show the rotation to whatever this map can. If you can call this map having a middle, I'll show you the rotation there in a sec. First, I'm going to show you B site. So obviously this is from the CT perspective. They get to B and A pretty quick. Rotations are fairly similar to the 2 bomb sites, especially now that they cleaned up the slime. It was a lot easier to get here than it was to get to A. You can obviously climb up this ladder, and this will allow you to rotate around. So there's a little bit of verticality in this area, which I like. I don't think you can get up here from here unless you use a boost. It would seem so. It seems you have to double boost somebody if you wanted to, excuse me, if you wanted to get up there quick enough. So, food for thought. I always forget about boosting. Anyway, you can self-boost your way up here from A site again to get up to this area, and then you can overlook on B. So actually, a strategy, if you are lurking as T's, right? Everybody lurks in matchmaking. So your team of lurkers and 1 bomb planter will come down here. One of them can self-boost up here and get in here. The other one can go down there through that warehouse. And I guess this is fork, and now we're at Windows. So we can come in here in Windows 98 and absolutely annihilate anybody who's planted. So the bomb site for this is actually, I don't know if you can plant on here. You can. Okay, cool. So the cutoff seems, oh, we're in the cutoff right here. Okay, so fair enough. So you could very easily plant like just about anywhere over here. I actually thought it was only on the low ground when I first played this, and that was just embarrassing. So yeah, easy approach from there, but also somewhat equally easy approach from the CTs themselves. I kind of like interactive elements too. Like I don't know if there's any penchant that the level designers have for like maybe opening this up. I think it's like 1 level designer, 1 modeler or something like that, but I'm not sure. I didn't follow the development of it. So it could be interesting if you could like somehow bomb this open and, you know, throw enough grenades at yourself by accident and, you know, see what happens. But unfortunately that doesn't happen. So it seems pretty wall bangable anyway. Cool spam. And then you eventually will get up here and do your thing. But yeah, lots of easy post plants, but at this point you're already at A. So I guess the idea here is that if you take B, CTs are probably also at A, they can easily come in here and fuck you up. So quick rotate actually, very interesting design in that sense. It's like I said, this map doesn't really have a middle per se. It just has like, there's a gap between the bomb sites where there's quick rotations, and that in and of itself is like kind of interesting because if you hold on to the outside of the map, like we were running around when I was giving you guys the tour, it gives you a very different outlook on what this map actually is. Speaking of outlook, look out. That's Walker's role. He's the lookout. So this area I haven't even shown yet, so let me go back over here and show you it properly. So if you went, you know, this is again on the approach to bomb site A from T-spawn. So if you were to go the other way from T-spawn, someday I'll get an actual system down for showing the map in a reasonable fashion. I still haven't quite figured that out. So you got some feedback on that. Put it in the comments. Should I go to like each bomb site first? And then I feel like starting at some spawn, T or CT would be useful. But actually going through the whole layout without having diarrhea of the mouth trying to explain all my thoughts and ideas that I have as I'm walking around, a little bit difficult for me. So this is the basic approach to B site. You go through these double doors. And obviously there's like this outer courtyard area and some barrels of hay. No horses in sight. Man, you could not have found any better foliage. Anytime I see 2D stuff in a 3D game, I get absolutely triggered. But this whole area doesn't do it as much for me, mostly because it's like, it feels like this should be blocked off more uniformly, or there should be a way for me to be able to like, there should be like some boxes over here that I could stand on and then hold an angle. Well, I guess I can kind of do that from this angle, right? Because I can do this. What's my op key? Hell yeah, first try. Yeah, so I guess this doesn't really matter. You can hold this angle yourself. But again, you're very exposed from windows. So that's a problem. But anyway, another bombable door, dude. Bomb these doors. Plant the bomb on the door. What the fuck? So yeah, anyway, just some idea. I'm trying to think of like how to make this area better, because this, just the way that this is cloistered off feels, it feels like, you know, there's a ladder in here. I guess there's some sludge or something. I don't know. Don't look at it too much, but I feel like there could be something to be done about that area. A lot of clipping in that area too. But anyway, it serves as like a quicker rotation from the sort of middle that we talked about earlier to the B-bomb site from this approach if you are the CTs, or I suppose if you are the Ts first approaching. But it's still important to have somebody coming on the low ground, I think, so that you can have like some dude clear out this side. Like there could be I'll have to use an AK, so we won't be very immersive here. But if I'm a CT, I'm holding, you know, this angle, waiting for somebody to, like, I'm in relative safety from this area, and I'm holding an angle. It seems like it's pretty hard to kill me unless you take Windows control, right? So that's one of those things that I worry about with this site. But so far, we're looking like, you know, we have at least some identity to the map. And yes, you can slowly crawl your way through here, but you're super exposed. It's just that it's very quiet. So if you were trying to flank or backstab or something, that would be an option. Also, I don't even know what happens with weapons in the water. Okay, they do float to the top. They look very silly while doing so. But, yeah, that was a fear. I should have tested that earlier. But, yeah, that was definitely a fear. So, obviously, it's super easy to get into windows from the site as well, if you wanted to, because you can use that ladder there. Fake doors. Love them. I don't think you can get up here, but maybe you can. You should be able to get up here, but you can't. Just take fall damage. So that would definitely be a broken-ass spot, but I also don't know how high the skybox is. It looks like it's pretty high. So I'm sure you could find some interesting smokes. What? Oh, that's my grenade trajectory. I see. Yeah, so you could probably find some neat little tricks here and there. Definitely like open skyboxes in general. It affords a lot of power to the Ts, and it can give some power back to the CTs depending on the situation. But to me, it seems way better than having closed skyboxes. There's some maps in this contest that have some closed skyboxes, and I am not a fan at all because I want to find out some exciting grenades, you know? And that's like, since I'm shit at aiming and pretty much everything else in the game, like spending autistic amounts of time running around a map, and I don't mean to be offensive. I actually mean like have autism here. Like trying to figure out this stuff, like line up and math. Let's see where this goes. Oh, you could adjust this and smoke off like here, and then suddenly you would have something on your hands. You know what I mean? Like I like doing stuff like that. It's pretty cool. So like we threw it over there, so we'll try over here. But yeah, you know, I like messing around with stuff like that. And I think it can add a lot of value and really allow you to show your stuff. So we're not going to keep trying because that would be a boring video. But just saying, open skyboxes are great for me and for Wucker. So what else do I have to say about this map so far? don't really agree with a lot of the artistic choices, like the sound effects I already talked about, but the fact that you have this map, and the fact that you have this theme, and the fact that you have this gameplay effect of the slime gives you a lot of points, because like I said earlier, not a whole lot of adaptation. When I've conceptualized like what I would want out of my own game, what I would want out of an ideal RTS or FPS game, because those are the two kinds of games that I most enjoy, and I think it would be a series of events where like you are encouraged to continue to master the fundamentals, like aiming and movement mechanics and grenade throws, but you're also encouraged to change up your strategy, by which I mean like figuring out different things, strategies to handle different things like map-specific things like the slime. I mean, even to an extent, we already have this in the game. We have Nuke's verticality, for example. To me, it makes a lot of sense to encourage players to actually try to improve at things that they don't currently use or at all, or things that they aren't currently masters of. In addition to the fundamental mechanics of the game, which we have a certain expectation for when it comes to professionals. I think even the pro scene would benefit from having maps like this, that change the scene like this, that change sort of expectations of what a map can even offer. Because if you think about it, this is the rotation of mid, by the way. If you think about it, Vertigo was like so heavily criticized because you could fall off the map. Now, I don't really like the idea of falling off the map myself, but I do like the idea of pros having to engage with a new mechanic, a mechanic that's new to them, that is at least new in terms of how like popular it is on the map, or how significantly used it is in the map. Like Vertigo is probably one of the only maps in the pool that lets you fall off the map as much, right? There's like areas where you can fall off other maps, presumably. And certainly you can fall to your death in a lot of areas, like Nuke, for example. I'm actually not sure if there's any other area you can fall to your death, like completely to your death. I think Vertigo might be the only one. Whereas, like, obviously you can just take enough fall damage from smacking your head on the floor as you try to jump. But, hey, another fake door. Is that a model? I can't tell. I think it is. Yeah, it is. So, yeah, there's things like that I think would benefit the scene. And I always like to see map makers trying to get creative with that. It's not the same thing as like somebody saying, oh, I'm just going to place an op in the middle of the map and have people pick it up. Although even that I think could be interesting. I don't think it would be adopted by pro scenes. So there's something to be said for like both what is cool and interesting to play around with as far as expectations go, and as far as a gameplay mechanic goes that you could add to Counter-Strike with it actually being additive and something that augments the experience, and not necessarily something that takes away from the experience, that negates it in that sense. I don't know. I just feel like there's room for exploration there. And especially if you're able to explore within the confines of what you think the community would probably welcome in terms of an addition. Like, Valve kind of forced the Vertigo thing on us. They certainly didn't survey us. And, hey, do you think that falling off the map would be a good thing to happen in a professional setting? Do you think NAF and device falling off the map in very embarrassing professional settings when they're flashed or smoked or whatever is a good idea? Well, most of us would probably say no, but sometimes maybe you do have to force them to us. So I just hope that people get encouraged by seeing Vertigo in the map pool, even though the map is not very well balanced right now, and even though it's not very fun to watch in my subjective opinion, and even though I think it leads to low quality games of objective skill display, I also think that there's room for that sort of thing where you have to force yourself to adapt as a professional player to a new environment, to a map that rewards different tactics. And to an extent, we already have things like Nuke's verticality that are, you could call gimmicky in a sense. Like it's kind of like a gimmick of Nuke that you have that. And so that to me is like a really big thing in favor of this map, where it does have something that's very unique to it. And I'm not talking about like visuals. I mean an actual gameplay mechanic that's very unique to it. And I think that that's cool. So it's an interesting theme to literally build the map around and on top of. It seems to be the foundation and surrounding of the map. And I think that that's cool. So as I continue to take some fall damage and run around the map, I'm still just trying to build some subconscious ideas of what I want to say about the map and its design. I guess I don't really have too many words about the B-bomb site. Like I said, this feels like an OP angle if I also have mid control, but that's contingent upon getting mid control and keeping it. So presumably, CTs seem to have a faster rotation to mid anyway than Ts do, especially since we just talked about the whole slime mechanic. Now, if you're a CT and you want to go to mid, the quickest way may actually be to jump off that boat, like I said, and when you're about to head to B, you instead of going to that upper area that I talked about not liking, you just take a right. But that's still significantly longer than the CT route. So we can actually do some timing here. And I'll take the opposite approach then. I don't actually know what all the spawn points look like, so I'll just assume that I spawn about here, and we'll say 47 is when I started holding D, or W, D. Yes, that's a Freudian slip. And we're just about there. So your first gunfight would probably be at like, 3 seconds ago. So it's at least like an 8-second rotation, if not longer than that. You know what I mean? So that's one of those things where it's like, that's an 8-second rotation. If we compare that to the CT rotation, maybe it's about even. But even so, I still feel like the angles that you've got to clear as... Oh, yeah, I should probably count down from an actual thing. So I think I spawn here a lot. So we'll say 15. And yeah, they definitely raised a lot of this stuff up. So there's much less swamp. There used to be much more slime over there. So yeah, we're about the same. It's like 1 second off or something over here, but maybe I didn't count super accurately with the T side. And that's obviously through the slime way. I don't know what the other way would look like. But just considering that you can hold this angle, I guess this is probably the quickest way over here for... Actually, it's the only way over here for the CTs, unless they want to go from B and hold this angle, but they're not much help to the guy who's holding in balcony and or crates. So I guess if you were like a balcony player, if you're the opper, or say you're even like an aggro rifler or something, you could throw a flash and not actually fuck it up that way. That's just because that door frame got in my way. So, you throw a flash out here and you jump out with the flash, especially if you time your jump so that the flash is about to go off. Players are either going to get blinded by the flash or they're going to look away, and then they look back and they don't know if you're already here, like crouched or something. You know what I mean? So I can actually use my nifty new config. He's stuck. Well, Walker, what are you doing there? Okay. So I can use my nifty new config to turn on this, and then I can turn it off if I remember the key. There we go. And then I can make him crouch. Which one is that? Okay. So, yeah, like you could get right into this angle, and then, like, say he's looking at me. Oh, yeah, by the way, the new fucking skins, the new skins are going to look great on this map. Yeah, so he's looking at me right now. Like, I could be walking around do-si-do, and I would have no idea that guy's there. Like, if that's an angle that I have got to clear, right? So that's definitely interesting, is like the idea that, like, as you're coming up here, right? Because, again, you're probably going to be about here when that flash goes off, more or less. So just this engagement alone is really kind of neat to me, because the idea is CTs only have one way in. But if they get proper utility usage, you could even, in theory... Well, I guess not, because this is probably blocking it. Wow, where am I? I'm even in no-clip mode, I move slower in slime. That's pretty good. Oh, I keep hitting the wrong key. I'm spawning grenades everywhere. So this little overhang does block flashes from affecting us. But maybe you could get a good smoke going from spawn into... that. So I want to say it's probably something like you would, you got to get a decent lineup. So we'll say, like, come over here and then see what happens. It's probably going to bounce off. Yeah. That's a challenge, because obviously this shit is, this is a very tall building that you'd have to sit under, right? So you can do something like this, maybe. No, you'd still have to jump through, I think. There you go. Oh, is this a blocker? Is a skybox in the way? Yeah, okay. So there's actually a skybox in the way. That's too bad, because if you could smoke that off a CT, that would be super OP. And so maybe it's actually a good thing. And then I guess, like, I'm trying to think of, like, what you would want to do as a team CT side. Because T side, it just seems like, obviously, everybody wants to get map control. So you'd send, like, 1, maybe 2 guys mid. The pathway's so small, and especially if they get, like, a Molotov off of that area, which obviously they can't do from, like, afar. But the idea is, like, if you send two Ts over here, and one of them is, like, shoulder peeking, and then they can do, like... okay, well, maybe they can't do it. Oh, wait, I have to move. Ah, shit. He died. Yeah, I think that pipe actually stops you from seeing over there. So I don't think it's actually possible to get over into that area. But with a Molotov, anyway. So that's my main concern, I guess, is, like, how does utility usage actually affect that area of the map? All these things that are in the way, like, this is in the way of pop flashing over. The skybox is in the way of pop flashing over, but you can't even, like, flash up and then time your flash with the skybox. like where it would hit the skybox over there, to flash these guys because they got this little overhead look, which is obviously important because that's how you climb up here. So you can't exactly just remove it. So I guess you would definitely have to pop flash yourself out here, right? So you have to do something like, and that's a pretty good flash, I think, right? I mean, let me see if that blinds me. That might be too far behind the crates. Oops, that's the wrong key. So I'm just standing here. Yeah, so that's a little too far. But you could definitely, I feel like, you could find something. So I'm thinking like, again, you want this to be super loose so that you don't have to like plan. You want to be able to do it while you're running out so you can jump out with it. So, and that one's also kind of far, right? So let's try this. And then I think the idea is like, maybe you run up here and you do something like this. Like you try to run out and like, no, that's also going to go off. I'm trying to see if like you can suspend it in the air so it's like right behind you and you can peek with it, but good fucking luck trying to figure that one out, I guess. Aha, pranked. So yeah, there's a lot of things that you could probably try to do. I mean, every time I try to do like a flash or something, the worst thing happens. So in one of these videos. But you could probably figure out some flash. And I feel like as long as you figure out a pop flash out, you can actually peek this angle. But it's super tough as a CT peeking this angle with against somebody's AWP, especially since they have so much more room to throw grenades. Like if they go the slime way, like we went earlier with the timing, you just throw a flash and you have to look away from that. Oh man! And if they don't hear the cue, which they probably will, that will pop them right in the head. So like that's super easy. That's first try, as if I played this map before or something. So I'm kind of worried about this engagement right here for the CTs. I definitely think that because they can only really send like one, max two people through this without it being too congested, and especially without it being smoked off. Like, are there the same guards in place so that I as a T can't smoke this off? Or can I smoke this off? Like, let's see what happens. Am I a god? No, never mind. It didn't go deep. But you could easily find like some... That takes forever to land too. But you could easily find something. And I think even if you're holding the angle from balcony, you can still see over. Yeah, so that's like a one-way for them. You don't want to do that one. But like, you could definitely figure something out, I feel like. Like that would not take that long for teams to actually do some research and figure this out. So if you were to throw the smoke and it was going to sneak its way in there, a little bit higher and that would have probably hit it. But I definitely think you could find a smoke, since the skybox is open on this side, you could definitely find a smoke as T's to smoke this off. And then you kind of have to rely on one of your B anchors to come through here, like up to window and make a lot of noise doing it. You have to make noise when you're doing this, your self boost up here. Like, I'm pretty sure you do. Maybe you don't have to. Yeah, you don't. There's no immediate like inevitable drop. So you could, in theory, sneak up here, but pretty unlikely that you're going to be there in time to help your opper. So he would have to back up and fall back, and you lose that map control pretty much just for one smoke. Like, you lose all efficacy of going mid if they know a smoke for mid. And that's one of the problems of making it so that's the only way in here. Now, obviously, if they still want to go A, they have to face the guys over here, and they have to expose themselves to anybody who could be playing fork, like upper fork. And I don't know if you can spam through this wall, so I guess I'll shoot Wucker in the head some more. Like, yeah, so you could bang that easy, I guess. You could just do that. So that could be interesting, I guess. But I also think, I guess if you just have some guy listening for sound cues, you could probably call for like a huge spam over here through these. So, yeah, there's that. I guess I should have a friendly fire off and like an ally bot so I can test spamming in general. So yeah, I'm just trying to figure out like what would CT team allocation look like on this map? Probably one B and one window, like holding something like over here, right? Because you can't actually get window control as T unless you go through mid and the forklift, right? So there's no other way in. You either have to go through B or through mid, and both of those are under CT control pretty early on, especially the A site. So you could definitely take A, because A is like much easier to actually start looking up and execute on, right? You can just do like flash out, take this long fight, because this is kind of like a corollary to A long or something if you did want to flank. And so The idea is that your opera would probably be better served in the outer areas of A, like A long, A outer, like this angle, and then having somebody on site probably as an anchor holding this, or I guess holding this. They're not visible unless they get somebody out here. So like the opera could, maybe would have to flick back and forth, but they would probably see some signs of life from the T's before that happened. So I'm thinking opera is probably going to mostly be on long, or they're going to be like, if there's like a lot of B hits over and over again, there's like, they could be bury themselves over here and try to like op from this angle or something. They're super slow to rotate out, but I kind of like that. Like I like that the swamp sludge stuff builds into the experience of actually playing this map, because you can use this to your advantage. And again, you can natural camo. It doesn't look like you can jump up here, unfortunately, but that's probably just so that you can hide readability nightmares. And still, like, there's so many ways that you can go about that, I think. So that's interesting, too. The thing is, like, maps that don't have any strategic or tactical depth to them don't take this long for somebody as dumb as me to figure out. You know what I mean? Like, I can actually think of a bunch of different ways that you could organize your offense or your defense, depending on how you wanted to do it, just based on looking at the map. And I'm already trying to think of, like, okay, well, maybe the mid is best suited for a fast-moving... like a good spawn will get you to mid faster with an op. Okay, yeah, you can take it. But otherwise, probably set your op either on A or on B. And a double op setup would be great for this map. And you could just have a rifler. Like, you'd have, again, like 1B with op, 1B with rifle looking window or something, like from window watching this. If they get action on A, or they feel like there's an A hit coming, window guys super quick rotate. Op probably won't be that far along behind, and he's still going to be useful from this angle as well, from this distance. So there's like so many ways that you could do that for defense rotations. And on top of that, it's like, it seems like there's multiple places for each member of the defensive team to go. And of course, there's multiple places for the offensive team to go. You can poke for information all over the place. You really get a lot of info. So I guess in short, it's definitely a different map, right? It's very distinct from some of the other maps that you'll see, even from the same contest, but also just in general. And I think that it makes sense to just give it a couple rounds, give it a couple matches, even with bots. Just fill this map up and see what you can do, because I think there's a lot of different interesting things you can do. So hopefully, I don't know if Mapcore with Faceit does this sort of thing. I know that like only the winner of the contest is going to be making it onto the hub, or that's my understanding. I would like if there was some sort of rotation of maps or something. There needs to be more attention, I think, to the custom maps. Sadly, Valve does fucking nothing for them, even though there's clearly like effort placed into developing the gameplay concepts. And so, some filthy angles to take from post plant, by the way. But yeah, there's a lot to analyze here from a map perspective. The visuals are hit or miss for me, but at least, most of the areas on the bomb sites themselves seem rather readable. It's just like those green CT skins are going to be impossible in certain areas, like especially in post-plant situations where you're not sure if what's going on. But at least they'll be on the move during those situations. So maybe it's not quite as big of an issue as I'm making it out to be. But yeah, no, I think this map is very much a functional map visually, and certainly a complete map when it comes to the game design, level design tenets that it shows you off, right? So normally I have like suggestions for how to improve it. I still think that my complaint about B is mostly just on the approach from T's. It feels a little one note, I guess. And mid I am concerned about, but it mostly means like I feel like the meta that would evolve around having mid the way it is would probably just result in you as the T side having to clear it all the time and watch it, but mostly it being used for rotations, either for Ts or CTs, more than actually being a point of contact, beyond having like a rifle guy here, maybe an opera with a good spawn or something. So I just feel like it's too risky for the CTs. And, again, this is all based on timings and conjecture as opposed to actually play time, which is another reason why we need more fucking people playing these custom maps. So if you're a fucking person, play this fucking map, you know what I mean? So anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say so far. Get some weird-ass backdrops over there. Cool. Nice boat. Yeah, I don't know. I think some of the areas of filler, like the boat, and things that block off a lot of what would be pathable space, and the approach to being like that as well. It's over here. This area, I feel like maybe you could tighten those up a little bit, make those a little bit more I guess, interesting. You can't really add more gameplay space without it becoming even more overloaded and perhaps threatening and punishing to new players because they don't know all the camping spots or whatever. There's certainly a lot of spots to look at on this map already. So I'm not necessarily suggesting adding more camping spots or hiding spots or post-plant spots or whatever. But I do think... Oh, I guess you can probably throw flashes out of these windows too, huh? So yeah, I think that there's all sorts of stuff that you could do with this map. And for sure, keep it up, man. So that's it. Keep it up, men. There's two people responsible for this. So, yep, give them a shout out. Play their map, and hopefully they found the feedback. I don't know about useful, but at least entertaining. Bye.